you guys seriously playing Pokemon Go in 2024? What losers?
That was brutal. Did anyone get the shiny question mark?
I got the shiny!
Dude, no way, that
Nice.
looks so good.
Dude, you're so freaking lucky. Oh, this is so fun. Let's go, guys.
Look at those losers playing that dead game. I was playing too. Maybe, just maybe, I should embrace the fun.
Hey, dude, want to play with us?
No, you loser, leave me alone.
You guys ready? Lobby up.
Hey guys, lobby up.
GG's, lobby up.
Dude, we gotta lobby up.
Lobby up.
Hey, should we lobby up?
Yo, lobby up.
Lobby up, y'all.
Hey, let's grab a beer. Lobby up.
Welcome everyone to the lobby. You've got Matt and Lewis here.
What's going on, everybody?
So if you listened to our last episode, you know that Lewis and I are big Pokemon Go players. We've been playing this since the game came out. Lewis uninterrupted, me a couple breaks here and there, but loyal fans nonetheless since the get-go because we're lifelong Pokemon fans.
Yes, we were part of the target demographic for Pokemon. We were there when the books were freaking written. And here we are, 2024, with no lives.
That's right. And our parents did not believe that it was satanic, so we got to keep playing it, and that's awesome.
Nice
But-
try, primer impacto.
But wait, what's that?
So, quick sidebar, in Mexico, well, not Mexico, I am Mexican, but in Latin America, primer impacto is like the one-all be-all for like news, and that in Latin America is where they were pushing that Pokemon was satanic.
Oh, see, I always think of that guy, that really white guy, who's like talking about how Mewtwo reaching out is basically like him trying to mind control your kids.
Oh my
God,
God,
you remember
yes.
that guy?
Yes, I do remember that guy. I mean, listen, the delusion came in all shapes and sizes and languages. Ultimately,
Yeah.
we won.
That's right. the power that's inside. But that being said, we still play Pokemon Go. We just got finished with Go Fest. The global version just happened. And how did that go for you?
Dude, so global was global, man. I'll be honest. Global is one of those things that I'm excited for the whole week before, and then it comes and I'm like, this is brutal.
So stressful.
Bro, it's so brutal. And then being from Florida, listen, y'all thought New York City was hot. Y'all don't know what freaking Florida heat is, and it was a fire fest down here.
Like the surface of the sun. That's why I
Dude,
moved away.
it was so hot, but we were able to play, thankfully. We have 2 kids, so it's always a juggling act to get them out of the car,
Ugh.
get them from overheating, and
Yeah.
also play our game. I think we did a really good job. Thank God for the Go Pluses that allow me to just click.
Yes.
But honestly, it was fine. My big complaint with Global and with New York City Go Fest, it's just the amount of raiding that was done this weekend was absolutely insane because of all these Ultra Beasts, dude.
Yeah.
I spent so many raid passes, and the shiny luck for Global was just not it for me in terms of raids.
Yeah.
I was thankfully, after 1,000 raids, I was able to finish all of the Ultra Beasts along with Johnny Lay, except Celesteela. That was my one raid boss that I needed shiny.
Do you think that as somebody who's played past Go Fest, that maybe our perception on the shiny rates is a little jaded?
It is, and actually, it's funny that you say that. So we had Murph that joined us for Global this year.
Yeah.
It was Murph, Johnny Lay, the kids, and I. And he did not pay for the Global. He just tagged along, hung out with us, did the free version of it. And I firsthand saw the difference between somebody who paid and someone who didn't.
Right.
I believe Murph got like, he can correct me in the comments, he had like 2 shinies, but I got 23 shinies throughout the whole weekend, which is pretty decent. So 2 to 23, I mean, when you compare paid versus not paid, I got my shinies. I got what I was looking for. Ultimately, compared to New York City Go Fest, it was fine. I had a good time, but doing it right after New York City Go Fest with a week of rest in between, that's just not enough time, man. I was exhausted going in, but dude, the grind waits for nobody. We did our thing. We had a good time.
Yeah. Hey, that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day, is just that you honestly had a good time for that weekend. You and I have a rule of thumb that essentially if you can get an hour of fun for every dollar you're spending on gaming entertainment, then it's decent value. And I mean, $15 for the whole weekend, it's 16 hours of playing, good value.
Get your dollar per hour of fun, which for me in terms of Pokemon Go, it's get $1 per shiny, and I got 23, so I'll take that.
Right. I guess, when you're in the car and you're trying to rally the kids and everything, it's like, how much fun are we really arguing that we're having?
Dude, it's not easy, and that's part of being a parent who also likes to play Pokemon Go. You can go out for walks, which we did. We walked around Lakeland for a little while, but the kids lasted 30 minutes in the heat before we're all like, get back in the truck, before we all burst into flames. So, you just got to pick and choose how you do it, but ultimately they did great. We had fun. We got our shinies, and I got all the Ultra Beasts that I wanted. Celesteela, if anyone has a trade for me, I am ready to take it.
Well, on the flip side of things, I don't have kids right now, but I did have to work the whole weekend. I mean, both days of Go Fest. And you buy these tickets, they're always like, oh, if you buy the ticket now, you get this research if you buy it 2 months ahead of time. It's like, I don't know my work schedule 2 months ahead of time. And sure enough, I worked the entire weekend, and I'm also just not going to block off my days at work. That's just not how the schedule worked for me at the time. I'm not going to do that for Pokemon Go. If it works out, it works out. It didn't. But while I was there, I do work at a pretty large hospital, which fortunately there was a Pokestop near me, and I had a lot of spawns. I really can't complain. My Go Plus Plus did some work that weekend. I honestly wound up with around 20 shinies, and a lot of them were ones that I really, really needed. I did not think that I was going to get most of the ones I did. I got my Emolga, I got both of my crabs, I got my Dedenne, most notably, and one of the things that I was absolutely most hyped about for all of Go Fest is I got my shiny Corsola, and that was the last Pokemon I needed to have a complete Johto shiny living dex.
Dude, which is so freaking sick, man. I'm not gonna lie, I am slightly jelly because I am missing one for the Johto dex.
Oh, what are you missing?
Tyrogue.
Are you missing Tyrogue? Oh, that was
Yeah.
such a random hatch that I had a while back, and it's a hard chase.
Yeah, I'm missing Tyrogue and I'm done with Johto, but it'll come when it comes. But dude, congratulations on that living dex for Johto. And it seems Global was good to us, man. That's pretty good given that you were at a hospital and stationary. I know I was sending you those remotes as much as I could. Dude, the Necrozma shinies were turned off for Global Go Fest or something, bro, because we could not get a shiny to save our life.
Yeah, how many raids did you wind up doing?
Dude, I have no idea, and I don't want to find out. But what I did get instead of the shiny, though, were those backgrounds. I love the backgrounds. I know people are hating it. They're like, oh, another thing to collect. Oh, it's another costume. Guys, there's a finite amount of shinies you can get in this game. And if it's gonna freaking extend the longevity a little bit longer to collect some backgrounds here and there, I'll collect them. Like, I'm not super serious about them. It's just one of those neat things, like my Nundos.
Also not neat. But the backgrounds, it's cool to get them. I will never be one of those that has to collect the backgrounds because it is nothing that will ever provide any type of value once it's transferred to home. Because let's face it, this game will eventually require us to transfer all of our stuff to home.
And I don't believe that. I believe that at the end of the day, when the nukes drop, there will be cockroaches and Pokemon Go.
And speaking of cockroaches crawling around us while we play Pokemon Go, we also just went to New York City and played Pokemon Go for Go Fest. Going back to New York City, it wasn't our first choice of a city to be playing Go Fest at. We kind of were hoping for a different venue, but we did have a lot of fun.
What was your top choice, by the way? If just your single top choice for a venue?
To be honest, it would have been really cool if it was in Orlando, because then I could go make this like into a longer trip, could go see my family. Sierra and I wouldn't have been, trying to navigate a huge city that, that kind of is another stress factor. We would have had people we could stay with. So many more things would have been better for me if it was just in Orlando. What about you?
Honestly, man, I was really banking on Denver. I really think that Colorado
Yeah.
would be a decent place to have this up in the, like, you could overlook the Rockies. It could be a very adventure week like Go Fest in the Rockies. The city's big enough to house a whole bunch of Pokemon Go players, and it's a change of scenery, and it probably wouldn't be as hot as a freaking Magmar's crotch if we would have
Dude.
just done it in freaking Denver.
Yeah, the heat was actually unbearable in New York. And again, I grew up in Florida. I know what real heat is like. And it was insane in New York City that entire weekend.
Well, at least in Florida, if it's extremely hot and you go into a random store, the AC is blasting
Right.
at full capacity. You go into a bodega, a pizza shop in New York City in the dead of summer, it's hotter in there than it
Yeah.
is outside. So
Somehow.
there's no relief.
All of the heat in New York City is actually just coming from all of the pizza restaurants,
Yeah, right?
just culminating together to create one delicious smelling heat wave.
And there we were in the dead of summer eating hot pizza and hot ramen, but we'll get there, right?
But no, dude, we went there for Go Fest. We knew what we were getting into because that's where we went last year. We always love going to McGee's. It is the bar that inspired the show How I Met Your Mother, which our friend group has all bonded very much over. And so we knew we were going to go last year. We had so much fun with it. We went again this year, trading shinies, having beers, having a good time.
Yes, we were getting drunk, and that's what Lobby Up is all about.
Right. Not about the gaming at all or anything
Nope,
like that.
nope.
This is actually just a segue into alcoholism. So ride the tide, ladies and gentlemen.
No, but in all seriousness, How I Met Your Mother has been a huge part of our friendship, and
Yeah.
getting to go to New York City again and meeting at McGee's, meeting at McLaren's, and just shooting the for a little while is honestly something refreshing, because we all do live so far apart from each other.
Yeah.
And to have Pokemon Go bring us all together from all parts of the East Coast to one bar in New York City to talk about Pokemon Go, that, my friend, is what Pokemon Go is all about. And that's why the community is going to keep thriving, because it does bring us together in many creative ways.
Right, because we all just want a blue question mark.
Oh God, the blue question mark. Cue the music. Bum, bum, bum.
Man, that was the absolute chase of the weekend. I mentioned it in the last episode. That's what I feel like I got on a plane for this past week, just trying to get that unknown question mark shiny. And crazy enough, wildly enough, I don't know if you know this, Lewis, but last year when we were at Go Fest in New York, in the same park, and I got my unknown exclamation mark, I got that in almost the exact same spot as
No
I got my
way.
unknown question mark. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but
I did not know that.
in Randall's Island Park, when you're right near the river there, is that the Hudson? I don't know New York.
Yes.
All right.
Don't fact check me. Yes.
Didn't Tom Hanks land a plane there or something? I don't know. But he may have done that. But more notably, I caught a shiny there.
That's more
and
impressive.
Yeah, I think so, because we looked for it all fucking weekend.
And well, the difference between this year and last year is last year we did our park day on the first day, and Johnny Lay had the genius idea of getting as many shinies as we can in the city. And then on the last day, on the last block, we go to the park and just kind of round out the last remaining ones, which really did work out for everybody.
It did. And I just wish that I had gotten the shiny unknown earlier, so that way we didn't continue to run our faces off all weekend long. I wish we all got the shiny a lot earlier, so we didn't have to keep doing that.
That shiny unknown was the death of me. I have a blister that's in the shape of a question mark right on my big toe. Johnny Lay wound up getting 2 shiny question marks.
Which
She
is
got
just
2.
ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
so dumb, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's my
Yeah.
wife, guys, and I'm just like, that's so dumb. But we'll definitely get to the park day and that question mark, because boy, do we have a story on that? But what would you say is
Yeah.
one of your favorite parts of, we're obviously there for Pokemon Go, but other than McLaren's, is there something that stood out for you that weekend that you're just like, this is the life?
Well, so our friend Murph, who we were meeting up with that weekend, he was staying at one of the Hilton hotels. And before he met up with us, we were like, where do you guys want to go have a drink tonight? And we threw around the idea of McGee's, and we're like, well, we're going to get to McGee's, but we haven't been to a rooftop bar. That would just be so fun to do that. And Murph texts us, and he's like, hey, I actually get a discount on my drinks at the bar. And we're like, psh, whatever. Like, we don't want to do that. We want to do a rooftop bar, idiot. And then he's like, guys, it is a rooftop bar.
And actually, dude, he didn't even say guys and corrected us. He didn't even correct us. He's just like, yeah, let's go drink. I get 50% off at the Hilton bar. And we're just like, you're an idiot. And we kept on with our day. Never once did he say it was a rooftop bar until like hours later. He's like, oh yeah, it's on the roof.
And
I'm like,
we were the idiots.
well, he could have led with that. He could have led with it's on the roof and nobody would have roasted him. Because let it be known, here at Lobby Up, we love roasting each other. Like that is the
it's
glue.
a love language.
Yeah, it's the glue that holds our friendship together.
Yeah.
And that bleeds right into the Pokemon Go chat that we have going.
It's brought out by Pokemon Go, honestly.
Yeah, dude. The burnt skin from the roast is what sticks us together.
Platelet party.
But no, that rooftop bar, in Murph's defense, that was really cool, dude.
Yeah, no, it was. And it was really, really cool to be that high up. But then shortly after that, the next day, we went to the Freedom Tower. And we went to the very top of that, and we went to the bar and played Pokemon Go. I mean, it must be 4,000 miles in the sky, because that's what it felt like.
4,000 miles. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe it is a tall... Dude, so it's 1,776 feet tall. We were at the very top, chilling, hanging out, playing Pokemon Go. We didn't move from that spot for like an hour.
Because there was a bar.
Yeah, a bar. Because that's what attracts us. That's what we do in New York, guys. So, but being up there was refreshing because, not like I said earlier, it's not very often that we all get to be together and just sitting there for a moment, just 1 hour, passively playing Pokemon Go, having a good time, and still catching shinies. It was like the shiny gods were like, take it easy, guys, because the rest of your weekend is going to be hell.
Crazy. But actually, that morning of the first day, we stopped by not even a bodega, just a little cafe, and we're just kind of gearing up, getting ready to go. And just before New York City Go Fest, there was a whole event where Shiny Larvesta was released, and there were some better eggs that came out, and I had a couple of them left over. And so because we had quarter hatch distance, I was like, yeah, toss all these guys into the incubators. And we walk into the cafe, and I hatch almost, and I'm talking the slightest, tiniest little IV off from a Shundo Larvesta.
98, man. A 98
shiny.
Sorry, a 98 shiny Larvesta.
Schnotto is what it was.
Schnotto. But dude, that was a sick hatch, and to be honest, man, that was peak. There was not much you could do after that. That is one of the rare shinies in the game.
Yeah.
You hatch it on the first day. It was almost like you had the main course an hour in to the first day of Go Fest.
Yeah, well, honestly, it was like I went to a Japanese restaurant and had Chinese. Like, it was a completely different course I wasn't even expecting to have, you know?
That's true.
It was like what happened last year. We were just hatching a bunch of 10Ks, and I got a shiny Tortuga, and I just was not even expecting to get it. And it's a pretty rare shiny, and it's decent looking. I loved it, but that was same thing this year. So I'm totally expecting every Go Fest from here forward to get a shiny that's super rare that has nothing to do with Go Fest.
I mean, listen, every time I do something stupid, every Go Fest, I get something fantastic right after.
It's very true.
So, and we'll get to that in just a second. But one of the things that I really liked, and I say liked very tepidly, because again, I'll get eggs thrown at me, but I like the backgrounds again, dude. I really like the backgrounds, and that was something going into Go Fest, New York City. I wanted all of the New York City backgrounds for all of the Ultra Beast, shiny or not, and I'm really glad that I was able to get that on the first day. I was pretty
Yeah.
stoked.
It seemed like there was, especially compared to the global background thing, it seemed like there was a much higher chance to get your New York one. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like within the first couple of raids, you usually would get it.
Yeah, it was almost like a give me. It's like, dude, even Niantic's like, you've given us enough money. Please, here's your background, and I'm just like, thank you, Niantic. Can I have some more, please?
Thank you for the 10-10-10 IV Pokemon with the background.
Thank you for the 10-10-10 Bucephalon.
Yeah, who can't be shiny.
Meanwhile, Sierra gets a hundo with the background,
random.
right?
I think that was her first ever Blacephalon raid, and she got the hundo.
Which is wild, because that's like me last year. I got the Hundo Eveltal with the background, and that is a flex. Whether you collect those backgrounds or not, those backgrounds on a Hundo is a flex, in my opinion.
It's pretty freaking cool. It is cool. But listen, you were saying in a minute, and the minute's now. I want to know the stupid thing you did and the awesome thing you got.
So, in order to tell you the stupid thing I did versus the stupid thing I got, there is something that I kept doing to annoy our friend Austin. So we love to embarrass each other, guys. Like, if there's something that, as you get to know us on our podcasting journey, you will see that I just love embarrassing Matt. I love embarrassing my friends by doing the most outlandish things. Yeah. So what I was doing, and it was really getting on Austin's nerves, is every time I was doing spatial rend on Palkia, I did the most anime protagonist thing that I could possibly do, and I played the theme song for this anime called G Gundam, and I was just like, Palkia, lend me your strength. Together with the power of friendship, we will catch shinies. And I'm twirling around in the streets of New York City.
He's like actually blaring as loud as he can to everyone around him. Women are like shooing away their children.
People just looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I'm looking at everybody else around us was chill. Austin was getting red and would just walk away. So I found something that bothered him, and I kept doing it. Well, Arceus had different plans for me. He's like, oh, you're going to keep doing this stupid joke. All right. So in one of my anime protagonist moments, I'm blaring the music. I'm shouting out Palkia to give me her strength. And instead of clicking Spatial Rend, I clicked give it a charged move. I clicked give it a charge move.
Which is devastating because we spent approximately 2.5 months saving up every little rare candy. Lewis grinding out every PvP battle he could so that we could get every Palkia candy he could, so that way in New York we can have double the spawn radius with Spatial Rend. And instead of activating that, he spent 100 of those candies to give it what move?
I got Fire Blast. Guys, just picture it. Like, I'm going from like super crazy anime protagonist to, oh no. I look like that monkey from the memes. I'm just like, oh no, oh no. I spent 100 candies on Fire Blast, and the joke instantly turned on me. Like, the people, even the ones in our group that weren't laughing at the joke, were just like, you know what, you deserve that.
You deserve that.
Dunked on. Matt is dunking on me.
Dying.
Matt was like, oh dude, I gave it a charge move, and I looked at him like, oh, Solace, and he's like, I'm just kidding, I'm not a fucking idiot. Let it be known that took the wind out of my sails. It was devastating. So just like last year I accidentally purified my 98 Shadow Mewtwo.
Yes.
I did that by accident. So that's 2 years in a row where
we were sitting there at the end of the day. You can't even say that we were tired, but
was
nobody
exhausted.
yes, we were all tired, definitely. For sure. That's the only thing that we can give you because it was at the end of the day, we weren't even during the event. We were just sitting there at the hotel, all just staring at our phones. And Lewis looks up and he's like, "Oh no. Oh guys, I just purified my almost Hundo Shadow Mewtwo." We're like, why?
I was trying to power it up. So that's two Go Fest in a row where I do something monumentally stupid.
Which, guys, if you're always like, "Oh, why do I have to press 3 buttons just to transfer this one costume Pokemon?" It's people like Lewis.
So both situations gave me something in return. It's like, you know what, you idiot, here you go. So for the Shadow Mewtwo, I got the background Hundo Yveltal.
Yes.
I was super stoked about that. For the Fire Blast Palkia, I got a Hundo Necrozma like right after
Which
that.
is awesome.
Which
That was
is-
like your 9th raid.
It was my 9th. I was sub 10.
Yeah.
I got on my 9th raid, got my Hundo Necrozma, and all was right with the world.
And this guy, the rest of the weekend, we were doing Necrozma after Necrozma because some of us didn't have a Hundo, and Lewis was like, "Oh, why are we doing so many Necrozma raids?"
No,
We're
what I
like,
kept saying
"Well."
is, what's the Hundo?
Oh man, this guy. But speaking of getting burnt out on Pokemon, the one Pokemon that we all got burnt out with by the end of that weekend and definitely by Global was a little quacking guy named Ducklet. That was shiny release in New York City, and for whatever reason, Niantic was like, "Oh, you guys like ducks? Well, guess what? Here comes as many ducks as you've never wanted." It was like every duck in New York City was now on our phones.
How many
There was-
shiny Ducklets did you get?
9. By the time all was said and done, 9, and I traded one to Sierra.
I got 7 shiny Ducklets, and I hate all of them.
Yeah, equally. I mean, just at that point when you've completed New York and you're heading towards Global and the egg pool is so good and you're like, "Ooh, which shiny am I gonna get? Ooh, would I maybe finally get the Dusk Rockruff? That one's be shiny, or a shiny Larvesta?" And then it's like, "No, here's another shiny Ducklet."
I hatched another shiny Ducklet,
Same.
but I did wind up hatching a shiny Jangmo-O, which was pretty neat. But honestly, in the 7Ks, I wound up getting my Crabrawlers too. I did better after New York City with hatching versus in New York City. I hatched a Hundo Sprigatito, which was like, okay. And I wound up hatching a Hundo Corsola as well, which was okay. We'll take those.
Right, dude. And speaking of hatches, man, I did hatch the Hundo Dusk Rockruff, and I did hatch a Hundo Jangmo.
Yeah, you killed it. John Lay also got a Jangmo as well, Hundo, which was pretty
Yes.
sick. And I'm just looking at you guys through the window like, oh.
Or the Squidward meme. Just me and Johnny Lee running around with our Hundo outside.
All to circle back, that Fire Blast Palkia was awful, but I got my up and comings from that.
I think that the Fire Blast specifically was so funny and ironic because it was so freaking hot all weekend. I almost passed out, I think, on Saturday. We were walking through the city and I was like, "Guys, can we get in like the shade of the building?" And Lewis is like, "No, we got to keep on this path because we're going to this." And he was navigating us. He's trying his best, but I'm like silently dying over the back of the group, just like, "Water!" And we stop in one of the best pizza places, the Two Bros.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there like, I can't even eat this pizza. I need to just stand in front of that fan over there and just pretend that it's AC and just put this cold Coke on the back of my neck.
Dude, guys, Matt was not doing okay during
Isn't
this,
okay.
which was really funny because right before you almost died of a heat stroke, I bit a piece of my cheek off.
Like, what?
You don't remember that?
No, I didn't remember it. I was
even made-
barely conscious.
I even made a joke. I was like, "Oh, here goes Matt taking away my thunder from my bitten cheek."
I had no idea. That's
Yeah, I
hilarious.
made a slight joke before I stood up and realized how serious it was. And like we started fanning. So going back to you, we started fanning you. We got Sierra got a pizza box, and
Yeah.
we were fanning you as much as we could, and there was this
Random New Yorker just sitting at a table next to us who was like, take the cold Coke and like slowly drip it down his face like
and that's
it's
actually
sweat.
not what he was saying.
Oh,
Which-
what did they say?
I'm gonna paint a picture here. It was a wise old little Asian man, and he was like, I trusted that guy. I mean, he looked like he was the wisest man there, and he's just like, rub his temples, rub his forehead with our fingers, and then but Sierra kept rubbing a can of Coke on you, and I was like, no,
We're like,
use your
oh,
fingers."
thanks. And I'm like, this isn't helping.
No, he said he said to rub your temples and rub
Interesting.
your forehead, and he was definitely trying to help us because you
Huh.
looked like you were about to pass out right in
Yeah.
the middle of two bros, and you were gonna ruin my pizza for me.
Well, at least one of us got to eat, I guess. But yeah, no, that day really, really sucked. And I wasn't the only one suffering though, okay? Because yes, you made a joke about it earlier, but your feet were like absolutely destroyed.
Bro, my feet were worse than last year, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much we walked. I think we walked about 60 miles by the end of everything, based off what Austin was saying.
Really?
His watch registered. He can comment down below and let us know the exact, because he had it on his watch. But we walked a lot, and my feet were 90% blisters, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, I'm an ER nurse and I'm always just trying to have like first aid and that kind of stuff ready to go. I have like whatever comes in this little package, maybe like a dozen band-aids. Lewis used all of them. All of them for his feet. And I was like, hey, at least they're going to use, you know.
Dude, they did. That helped me survive the rest of Go Fest, which is funny you bring up nursing, because I remember going, I'm not gonna lie, as a nurse, I'm excited to see what my feet look like. I took my shoe off and it was all blisters, man. It hurt so bad, but the grind stops for nobody. And we just kept powering through it, man. We had
No.
to.
See, being the case study of the first man to have his feet entirely covered in feet blisters, would you prefer them to be called flisters or bleat?
Flisters for sure. But no, that was probably the worst part, like bar none, for Go Fest, was the amount of walking that we did that resulted in pain. And you notice how last year we weren't nearly as sore.
No.
This year we were way more sore, and there's one common denominator between both of them. Our age. Because last year we were 29 and this year we were 30, and
Guys,
30 sucked.
It's rough. It's really, really rough. I wasn't ready for it because listen, I didn't even tell you the worst story that I have for the weekend about my suffering because of my age. I just got back to the hotel and we're preparing to go to our park time, which, as you may know, is very set aside and scheduled. We have 4 hours to go in and reap the benefits of going to Go Fest, of being there, trying to get the best experience, right? So you're expected to just they're not going to wait for you to get there. It's starting at 3 for us, and if you're not there, you're doing yourself the disservice. Well, I was like, okay, I'm going to get ready. We all cosplayed, by the way. So we're all getting ready at like 1 o'clock to just make sure that we have plenty of time. I needed to eat something because I hadn't eaten yet today. And so I ate just a couple slices of pizza, had a little bit of a soda, and my body decided to kill me for it. So basically from there, everybody's basically done getting ready, and I just start getting sick. I'm not having a good time. I can't get it under control. I tried taking some meds. It wasn't really helping. And it was maybe, I want to say like 2:15ish, and we're just like, we gotta go. And thank God the MVP Austin stayed behind, because if me and Sierra were the only ones to get us to Randall's Island Park, I was useless. I was worthless. Couldn't do anything. I couldn't even look at my phone and play Pokemon Go, let alone navigate us through the New York subway. So Austin, he's rallying. They're just like, come on, Matt, it's okay, we're gonna get there, it's gonna be fine. And I'm just running through New York as James, trying not to throw up. And we get to the subway, and unfortunately, the common mistake, as I know that you know too well, that can be made in New York, is you can take the correct lettered sub and take it the wrong direction.
Yes.
and we made that mistake. Austin was luckily we noticed it pretty quick, got off the sub, and then headed in the correct direction. And I was starting to feel a little bit better as we kept getting onto the subs that it had AC. Crazy enough that the coldest places in New York were the subways with working AC.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Because I noticed that immediately. I'm like, oh, thank God, this is a sub with an actual working AC unit.
Right. And all the ones that we got on were ice cold, so thank God for that. But I started feeling a little bit better, but I really, truly was out of it. And by the time we got on the bus, I was feeling pretty close. And once we got into the park, I was 100%. But we did wind up getting there late, so I felt terrible. Austin was encouraging. He was awesome. Sierra was ready to go. We were dressed up as Jesse and James, ready to have an awesome time.
Which leads us into how awesome it was that we cosplayed. So
yeah,
you stated, you did Jesse and James, Johnny Lay Murph and we did Team Skull.
Yes.
And I was Guzma, the main antagonist for Sun and Moon, and they were dressed as Skull Grunts. And I'm not gonna lie, and which is in retrospect a dumb thought to have because we're going to a Pokemon event. But I just felt like nobody was gonna know. I feel like nobody talks about the Alolan region enough. And I was partially right at first. Like at first I was like, oh, no one's really noticing. And then out of nowhere, like 20 people in a row were just like, Guzma, Team Skull, yeah, representing. And we were getting stopped for so many photos. People were loving the cosplays we were making. It was honestly one of the highlights of the whole entire trip, because like the love that you're getting for just putting an extra little bit of effort into your presentation in the park day goes a long way, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. I totally agree. We had some crazy fun moments, and like I said, Jesse and James, that's what we wound up going with, because that's Sierra's favorite thing to do, is kind of for these events get all dressed up, and she loves making the Team Rocket stuff. We've had several iterations of it, but I mean, we're not professional cosplayers by any mean, but throw a red R on a white shirt, have red hair on the female and blue hair on the dude, and everybody's gonna know who you are. And man, we just constantly were getting stopped, and it was a lot of fun. It was really, really cool to be having these experiences with people. One of the funnest things was when I first got there, you were like, Matt, go to the Mystic tent because they're giving out some free stuff there. I'm like, okay, I'll go check it out real quick. So Sierra and I go down there, and you had actually specifically, you're trying to get me one of those looking for and willing to trade paddles.
Yes.
And so I went in, this is like total classic, like RPG, like humble beginnings. Like I went in there to the tent and I was like, please, ma'am, might I have just two tiny little paddles for me and my humble wife? And she was like, no, you can go down to the other place with the untouchables. And I was like, please, might I just have two so that I can get myself a shiny question mark? And she was like, no. And then all of a sudden, the guy that was up on the stage behind her with the microphone was like, James from Team Rocket! And like, I just threw my hands up in the air. The crowd, this like 100 nerds standing under the tent, went wild. It was so surreal. And he was like, give that man a keychain. And then she just started she handed me keychains. She handed me the paddles that I was asking for. And the thing that I truly wanted was these Pokestop spinning keychains. And I was like, please, can I just get those two? And she's like, we're running low, with the same woman. And I was like, please, just give me those two. And she's like, fine. Because at this point I had her, right? Like,
the crowd is against you. You're gonna look like a total ass if you don't give you if they don't give you the keychain.
Exactly. So that was just like, that was one of the first moments when we stepped into the park. I was like, okay, like this is how it's gonna be, like awesome. So we were off to a really good start, and just again, dude, having pictures and moments with people was so fun.
Yes.
We actually, our whole group got stopped by the Google Play people at the end of the event.
Yes.
Which was also cool because Lewis and I, hello podcasters.
Too bad we couldn't do the plug.
Yeah, true. But I mean, hey, look out for the Google Play video. If you see a Guzma and a James, it's us. So
Yes.
you guys already know. But it was cool. They pulled Sierra and I to the side, and we did like a little solo thing. I don't know if they're gonna make anything out of it, but they had like some cool shots apparently. So I'm really hoping to see some footage.
And adding on to like the cool shots and the photos, one thing that I really love this year compared to last year, and again, Johnny Lay being the genius that she is and making it the last day, we had mostly everything we needed for in terms of shinies. So we got to stop and take photos. We got to stop and look at the scenery, because last year we went into the park, booked it for 4 hours trying to get as many shinies as we could. This year was way more lax. We got to interact with different people.
Yeah.
If you're here from that park day and you remember James from Team Rocket or Guzma, leave us a comment below.
Yeah.
Because we loved reaching out to different people. I was struggling to get a shiny question mark.
Yes.
And right off the bat, in the beginning, I walked in, I was 20 minutes into my park day, and I ran into this really cool guy. And he loved the Guzma cosplay. He said it was his favorite boss in all of Pokemon, and which is crazy because Giovanni's out there. But like he really liked Guzma, and he took pictures with me. It was really nice. And he saw my paddle, and he's like, question mark, you need a question mark? I'm like, yes, I need a shiny question mark. I need a shiny question mark. And he's like, oh, let me check, because he didn't remember if he got a shiny question mark. And I was like at the edge of my seat, and he didn't have it. And he straight up told me, he's like, just because you're Guzma, if I had a shiny question mark, I would have given it to you.
I would have been like, don't even tell me that, dude.
I was like,
That hurts.
God. We are 4 hours away from New York City Go Fest ending, and I still don't have my shiny question mark.
But how did you get one?
So this is my magnum opus for this weekend. It is probably one of the craziest Pokemon stories that I have in my repertoire for the foreseeable future. For 2 events in a row now, I did not get the exclusive shiny unknown. I didn't get it for the exclamation point, and I didn't get it for the question mark. And I was grinding my blistered feet for 3 days trying to catch this thing, and it just wasn't happening, dude. And it's a really weird feeling if you go to these events with people that you love and know, because you love them and you're super excited that they're getting what they want. But each person that got a shiny question mark just was a dagger to my heart every single time. And you have to be happy, but you're hurting, dude.
Bro, that's why when I got mine, I turned to you because I could see the look on your face. And I don't know if you remember this, but I was just like, I know.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I said to you. I was just like,
Yep.
I know the feeling, Lewis. I'm like, I know.
And that helped. That helped a lot, because like, you don't want to be...
No, you don't want to be just taking away from somebody else's experience just because like you want it too. You want to be, it's like you're saying, it's such a weird moment because you want to be happy for them, but you want it, and you're just like, like it's so conflicting.
Yes. And Matt like just touching my shoulder and being like, hey, I get it. That helped me. Like, I'm like, okay, I still have time. And I congratulated Matt. I congratulated Murph. I congratulated Johnny Lay. Everybody was getting the question marks at this point. Austin, Sierra, and I didn't have it yet. And we were really grinding. And I'll be honest, once you got yours, I kind of gave up. I was like, you know what? I don't think it's for me. It's just not going to happen. Let me start trying to figure out how I'm going to get one of these. Like, I got to hope to God Johnny Lay gets an extra one, or somebody that's willing to trade it for me. So I'm limping around the park. I'm defeated, and I'm trying not to let this ruin my park day, because I've gotten so much cool stuff up until this point.
Yeah. Hundo Necrozma.
Yes. I've gotten some cool things. This is where the divergence in the timeline happens. Spoilers, I did get my question mark shiny, and a lot of things could have prevented that from not happening. I was defeated. We were walking back to the woods, the wooded area, and we started walking against the grain. People were coming towards us. We were going against us. We didn't even think about it. We're exhausted. It's hot. My feet hurt, and I'm walking. As we're walking as a group, this guy very angrily is like, hey, that's a one-way. You guys can't go down that way. You guys have to turn back.
And in all of our defense, there's no signage telling us that at all. And last year we could do this. We could go
Yes.
whichever way we wanted on this route, but in order to try to encourage better flow this year, they were trying a new thing, which is fine, but you need more than just one person sitting on a chair staring at his phone yelling at people to
Yes.
correct that.
He started cursing at us, like just yelling, and half of us turned back. You, Sierra, and Austin turned back.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Lay and Murph stopped and looked at me, and I look at them. I'm defeated. My feet hurt. I'm exhausted. And I'm like, fuck that. And I kept walking, dude. And he started yelling at me, and I'm like, nope, my feet hurt. I'm not going to walk an extra mile. I'm defeated. I'm done. I'm not even going to go play. I'm going to go in the shade and sit down. That was my goal. And I'm sorry, but the guy on his phone yelling at me is not going to stop me from the shade at this point. And then he, according to Murph, he goes, I get off at 7. I don't get paid enough for this shit.
He did say that. But actually what I think I heard him say is, I get off at 7, you can find me.
Is that what he said?
I could have sworn I heard him say that. Maybe I was wrong, but I did hear him say that I get off at 7.
He don't want this. So I kept walking, and I'm really defeated. I'm walking, trying to get to the shade. I have my little paddle that says shiny question mark for anything, whatever you want. And I keep walking. I'm flashing it at people. I'm defeated. And we finally get to the shade, and this guy stops me, and he's like, do you guys have a shiny Dunsparce? I need a shiny Dunsparce. None of us had it. And he's like, well, what are you looking for? I'm like, shiny question mark. Like, if you have it, you can look through anything in my box, and I'll give it to you. And he's like, I don't have the shiny unknown. And I'm like, dude, it's okay. Nobody does. Like, nobody does except my best friends. They all have it. I don't, you don't. So as I'm walking to go sit down, I hear a voice, and they're like, hey. And it sounds British. And let it be known, if you're not British and you're listening to this, I am so sorry. But in my head, you sounded very British. And she's like, hello. And I'm like, oh, hi. And she's like, you're looking for a shiny unknown. And I'm like, yes, I am.
The heat has just gotten to you so much. She's not actually British.
So defeated, and I'm so hot. She's probably like from Alabama, and I gave her a British accent. And I'm like, I'm looking for a shiny question mark. Do you have a shiny question mark? And she's like, yes, I have she said, yes, I have a question mark. And I'm like, no, but is it shiny?
But is it blue?
And she's like, yes, it's a shiny. And I was like, oh God, yes, I'll trade for it. What do you want? What do you want for the shiny question mark? I'll give you anything. I have 2 children at home. I'll give them to you. And she's like, I'm looking for a Chatot. And I deflated right in front of her, and I'm like, I don't have a shiny Chatot. I'm like, is there anything else you want? And she's like, oh no, it doesn't have to be shiny. And I'm like, what? Yeah, Chatots, they're regular. Here, look at them. And she's like,
I'm still just imagining her actually with Alabama accent. I'm like, you got a Chatot?
And if you're listening, I'm sorry. I was tired. But she's like, no, like a regular Chatot's fine. I start sweating, dude. I'm sweating. And I'm like, I know I have Chatots to trade. I have them. She's like, yes, but they have to be in a Pokeball.
Even more pressure.
And she's like, all of my collection is in Pokeballs. My boyfriend gave me a Chatot, and it wasn't in a Pokeball, and I didn't accept it. I transferred
So she
it.
broke up with him.
Oh my God. So I'm like, I was like, and listen, however you play your game, however you do it, I respect that. So like, yeah, like, let me see what I got for you. I'm digging through it, dude. I'm sweating. I don't know if my Chatot is in a red Pokeball. I open it. It is in a red Pokeball. And I'm like, I have it. I have it. I'm like, do you want to trade? And she's like, absolutely. Let's do the trade. I'm like, can I hug you? And she's like, yes, you can hug me. And I give this girl the biggest hug that I could muster up with my weakness. All of my feet pain went away. All of it. And I'm telling her, I'm like, I don't think you understand, but I'm so close to tears. I have been hunting this Pokemon all weekend, and you are saving me. And she says the coolest thing. She goes, if you're close to tears, imagine if it's a lucky. We trade and it's a lucky shiny question mark, and I start screaming in the middle of the woods. People are staring and I'm like, can I give you another hug? And she gave me a hug, and I'm like, can I have your name, please? Can I have your name? She's like, my name is Grace. Immediately I named my question mark shiny Grace with a question mark. And to wrap this story up, dude, when I saw her face, I recognized her. I saw her at a glance on the subway on the way to Go Fest, and we exchanged a smile because she saw our cosplays. She smiled, I smiled, and then we went on our way, having no idea that that girl on the subway was about to save my entire weekend.
It was fate, dude. It was fate, and you guys were meant to have that trade.
Yeah, so many things could have prevented it, and luckily it didn't. And Grace, shout out to you. It was a great weekend, but you perfected it. So thank you so much for that. And to top it all off, Johnny Lay got that second question mark. So Austin got to have one more, and that completed the people who went to Go Fest last year. We were hoping to get one for Sierra, but maybe next time.
Bro, that is awesome. That is such a good story, and I think that that's going to honestly stick around with us for pretty much forever when we talk about Pokemon Go, especially if unknowns come up. I think that story is going to come up. And before we wrap up this episode, we have just one more story that we have to share because it's stuck with us since last year. And that was when we were in Chinatown. And when you're in New York, you throw a stone, you're going to find good food. You really, really can't go wrong in most of the places that are there. And while we're in Chinatown, Lewis and his wife, Johnny Lay, were trying to get some dumplings. So we wanted to head to that area. But while we were there, Austin and I were like, bro, we got to get something to eat now, too. So we really wanted to get to this awesome ramen place, and it looked delicious. And we went in, we had a great time. We're just sitting there catching Pokemon, trading shinies, and the food was amazing. The ramen was easily the best ramen I've had in my whole life. It was so good, and we had such a good experience. We knew we wanted to go back this year.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, we could not remember for the life of us the name of the place, but we knew where it was, and then it was really easy to find from there. But it's Ajisen Ramen, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry. I'm white. I do my best. But in Chinatown, Ajisen Ramen, we went there again, and lo and behold, one of the guys who was just working his tail off last year, bussing tables, taking orders, and running around that place, he was there still when we went there this year. And we were like, bro, that's the same guy. That's the same guy that we had last year.
We're like whispering amongst each other like it's a giant secret.
Right. And we actually had a funny picture of me because they kept trying to take away my bowl of ramen and I wasn't done yet. So I was like kind of like hoarding it to myself, and Johnny Lay took a picture of me, and in the background of that picture is that guy. And we had to stop him. We were like, listen, we love your guys' food here.
Yeah.
And we know you. And he's like, wait, really? And we were like, yeah, dude, like you totally took our orders or like picked up our plates or whatever last year.
And he was so chill. He was talking to us about Pokemon. He was like, you know, what's going on? It's like, it's Go Fest. We're explaining to him what Go Fest is. And this was last year, of course. And he wanted to see like our best catches. Remember?
Yes. And so when he was talking to us, he was like, wait, weren't you guys sitting over there? And he points to the exact table that we were at. And we're like, yes, that's exactly where we were.
A year ago.
And what's funny was he starts telling us a story. He's like, I think last year, he's like, I don't know if you guys were talking to the table next to you, but the table next to you, one of the girls there had a Shundo Rayquaza. And we were like, that was actually us because that's Johnny Lay's. It was so wild that he remembered that. And we were like, man, you got to tell us your name. And his name is Brian from Ajisen Ramen. And if you are in the New York area, especially in Chinatown, or if you're not in Chinatown, go to Chinatown, go to Ajisen because it's amazing.
Yes. And ask for Brian. Let him know that Lobby Up with Matt and Lewis sent you, and that we send you with a lot of love. Brian, you are MVP, and every time we're in New York City, we will be eating at Ajisen Ramen.
That's right. But we really owe Pokemon Go a huge thanks because the stories with Brian, Grace, drinks on the roof, and all the near-death experiences likely never would have happened without it. Probably could have done without the heat exhaustion, but still, Go Fest was a huge success. But even if Pokemon Go isn't your thing, I hope this encourages you to check out a convention or some other in-person event surrounding something that you love. You never know what kind of interactions might await you. It brought me together for a whole weekend with some of the people I absolutely love most in the world, and that is what we're all about here at Lobby Up. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.
See you guys.